I always thought about maybe top 25, top 10, but never really thought of first place.
But of the 6,962 students who sat the PSE this year, Aliyah Marin topped the entire country. This is due largely to her preparation for the exams. However, while she and another 24 students are slated to be awarded for their excellent performance, the overall performance decreased from previous years.
We have a 5 percentage point decrease overall in science, 5.7% in math, and an 8% decrease in English this year.
And while the overall assessment of the results is yet to be concluded, this is not good news for the school since the exams generally test what students have learned over the 8-year curriculum.
How are we doing in terms of what are we putting out there? What is the level, the skills, what are the abilities that are coming out of the primary system? The PSC helps us to understand who is coming out of the system and at what level.
What's worse for some, the PSC results also serve as a form of completion for students who end their academic education at the primary school level. There was a slight increase in social studies of about half of a percentage point from last year, but it may not be surprising as students have maintained a satisfactory trend in performance since 2004 when it was incorporated into the exams with only a slight dip in 2006. Another shift in this year's results lie in the students' performance in English and Math, which contains 2 sections each, a multiple choice section in both papers and a narrative section for English and problem solving for Math.
Ordinarily, the paper 1 is the better performing paper. Normally it's the paper 2 that has the challenge, but I noticed this year the paper 1 had more challenge or a greater challenge for the students than the paper 2. For Math, the same thing occurs. They had a more difficult time with the Math paper 1, which is a multiple choice paper, than the paper 2. The paper 2 for Math actually went up by about a percentage point.
Whether this is reflective of the schools placing an emphasis on problem solving and writing has not yet been ascertained.
It's difficult to tell, but one thing I can say is that the schools are very much aware of the concepts and the skills, the level of the problem solving on that paper, and there may have been quite a bit of work to try to improve that paper because that has always proven to be the most challenging of all the papers on the test. So that is quite possible indeed.
What is certain, though, is that despite this year's fluctuation in the performance, schools work closely with students, like at Holy Redeemer, where 122 students sat the exam.
We put a lot of work into it, a lot of emphasis. We try different strategies in all subject areas.
The work pays off for many, yet teachers always find that there is always room for improvement, especially this year. Are you satisfied with the outcome?
Not much as I would want it. I expect some of the grades I get, but well, I don't know how was the grading system or how they if it was difficult this year, but I expect more. I expect better grades.
And while teachers will refocus on getting those better grades for next year, students who sat the exams this year, even those who topped the entire country, can only reflect on their performance.
Most of them were fairly challenging but the most challenging was the science. I prepared myself very well. I think that's the most I studied for science.
For most students, Math is the hardest. How did you find that one?
Math, I prepared really hard for my Math. I did excellent on my Math actually. I'm very proud of myself.
The English story writing was most difficult for me because then you don't have to know anything, you just have to write a story and come up with ideas for the story.
Yes, social because I'm not from Belize.
The work, however, is that the teachers or the students alone. Principal at Holy Redeemer, Molly Hewlett, says parental support is vital.
Be a part of your child's life. That's very important, and that's the success that Aliyah has shown because her parents were very dedicated. A whole school approach, and that would involve parents, teachers, children.
And once students get these 3 pillars of support, the results will be excellent and personally satisfying, like that of those who topped the exams this year.
I expected to do okay, but then not coming third in the country.
So you're quite proud of yourself, I imagine.
Yes, miss.
It makes me feel proud that I could accomplish this just by studying and working hard.
Dalila Kal for Love News.